So as most of you probably know, famous YouTuber PewDiePie has been under attack by the media for being a Nazi. And I won't go too far into that here, but if you actually just look at his content, you can tell pretty easily that he's not. It was a joke taken out of context. It was a bad joke. It was in very poor taste. So people just wanted to be mad at him because it was like, hey, that joke wasn't funny, man. That's fucked up. Okay, fair enough. You know, I thought it was kind of fucking hilarious, but I love laughing at awful shit. So, there you go. But to label someone a Nazi, I thought was going really fucking too far. It was like, oh, he made a really bad joke about death to all Jews, and oh, look, he uses Nazi jokes in his material. Ah, we can call him a Nazi. That's it. That's it. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to call him a Nazi. So the big question becomes, why? The article that kicked this all off was from the Wall Street Journal's website. It basically said that PewDiePie was a Nazi, the worst kind of person, blah, 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 blah. It was an obvious hit piece done by 3 journalists over at the Wall Street Journal. And you gotta ask yourself, wait, why would 3 guys collude to destroy one YouTuber's reputation? Particularly when there are actual Nazis on the site. I mean, like full-on white supremacists, man. You could find those guys. They've got a lot of followers. They're probably worth fucking investigating, but no, we're going to get mad at PewDiePie. Why? No, there's actually something more going on here. And when I say there's something more going on, I don't mean in a conspiracy theory kind of way. What I actually mean is that every time there is a new emerging media, say YouTube, and it gains primacy over the old media, like newspaper websites and text review places, there's a lot of animosity. It creates a lot of resentment and a lot of anger. So some of this can be put squarely on the shoulders of professional jealousy. PewDiePie is really fucking popular, and they don't think he deserves success because he's like the new kid on the block, essentially, in their mind. He is usurping their position. That kind of animosity kind of mirrors the way a lot of old media feels about video games. Video games, despite having been around for about 30 years now, is still treated like the new kid on the block. It doesn't quite fit in with television. It definitely doesn't fit in with movies. And the news and politics are absolutely laser focused on being the first one to tame the beast. No one really knows how to use video games for political recruitment. Even the army tried to use video games to recruit people to the armed forces and then had to come to the conclusion that it didn't work. And that's just one example of people trying to use video games for political ends. Another way you do it is you do it the old school method: demonization. They did it with rap music, they did it with rock and roll, and they wanted to do it with video games. Because if you can censor and control that shit, oh man, you got the populace by the balls. You tamed an industry. You get to control the conversation because you're the big hero that took down the thing that was corrupting the youth of America, or Britain, or wherever the fuck you live. And this is why the old media loved Anita Sarkeesian, by the way. It wasn't because the media cared about her feminist views. They only really cared because she was turning a large sector of the youth culture against video games. And that works out really well for them because they assume that if video games drop in popularity, they'll get their popularity and status back. But that didn't work out for them. Like, at all. They made an entire group of people so mad at the clickbait media that they basically drove Gawker into the ground. The head of Gawker even said, like, look, Gamergate wasn't the thing that took us down, but they were the consistent pressure that fucking wrecked us. And this also leads up to the Angry Video Game Nerd thing, where all of a sudden it was about the soft sexism of James Rolfe. One of the guys who kicked that off being fucking Devin Faraci from Badass Digest. But it turned out that Devin Faraci himself basically molested women on the reg. So obviously, ironically, he was the perfect person to tell us about soft sexism. Actually, now I think about it, that wasn't soft sexism. That's pretty hard. Like my dick. Anyway, so you got this very obvious rivalry between the clickbait media, which is just an extension of old media, and fucking YouTube. And here, this brings us to PewDiePie and the Wall Street Journal. Think about it. In the late 90s, the media ran with Marilyn Manson causes school shootings.
I don't want to be misquoted as saying this is the cause of what happened in Littleton, but it's a piece of the picture, and this is something that each one of us can do something about.
The irony is, the kids concerned weren't Marilyn Manson fans. The association between Manson and the massacre is somewhat mysterious, to be honest. But these big photographs of Marilyn Manson would appear by stories about Columbine with no obvious connection between the two.
Then they went with video games cause misogyny.
Games have a huge impact on our society, so it's not just fantasy. It actually works to potentially reinforce some pretty harmful messages about women.
I don't want to be misquoted as saying this is the cause of what happened in Littleton, but it's a piece of the picture, and this is something that each one of us can do something about.
It's not just fantasy. It actually works to potentially reinforce some pretty harmful messages about women.
These big photographs of Marilyn Manson would appear by stories about Columbine with no obvious connection between the two.
And now they're going with PewDiePie normalizes Nazism. Not Spencer, PewDiePie. Hitler confirmed. Slap that label on him. Yep, we're done. Ow! Hey, what happened? I broke my arm, pat myself on the back. It really does all come down to professional jealousy, but I find it very interesting that this has been the continuous rivalry. And I have got to applaud the YouTube community at large for coming together and defending PewDiePie. Because even if you don't like PewDiePie's content, the claims against him are fucking redonkulous. And I've heard a lot of arguments against it, like, oh, well, you're just defending a millionaire. Look, just because the guy's rich and successful doesn't mean he don't have rights. I mean, they're not American rights because he's like in Sweden, but, you know, come on. Basic human dignity. The guy's not Spencer. He's not fucking Trump. He's not even Milo Yiannopoulos. You get mad at PewDiePie because he made some really bad Nazi jokes, which he apologized for, by the way, twice. He admitted he went too far. But a lot of people didn't accept that. And I'm like, you know what? If you can't fucking accept when a man apologizes twice, that's your fault. But it was beautiful watching a bunch of people who would never have fucking come together. You never thought you were going to see JonTron, Sargon of Akkad, Boogie, Philip DeFranco, and Markiplier come together on a subject. But they did, and it was to defend their friend. And probably the best of them is Markiplier's.
Respect. It's something that I feel has been lost lately.
He is filled with a quiet fury that I absolutely respect. I absolutely get where he's coming from. This is the voice of a man who feels like his friend has been maligned.
I'm talking about this because of the frenzy that's surrounding Felix. Not PewDiePie, Felix. And I want to be very clear about something. Felix is not an anti-Semite, and Felix does not advocate hate. And I'm not even defending the jokes that he made, because even he has apologized for some of the jokes that he did. But he, as a person, as an inherent human being, he's not these labels.
I saw in him a kind of idealism and passion that I haven't seen in a long time. And actually, I found it kind of inspirational. So, pink mustache to you, Markiplier. Probably actually should have gotten an actual pink mustache, but, yeah, fuck it. So I really don't know what else to say except hit that subscribe button and maybe hit that notification button over there. And if you liked the video, hit like. If you didn't like the video, hit dislike. And we'll see you later.